You are living inside a financial war. Not a war with bullets or borders, but one waged through interest rates, currency decay, and engineered inflation. This is a war where the victims never see the battlefield, because the battlefield is their grocery bill, their rent, and their future. You never consented to this. You never voted for this. Yet you are paying for it every single day. Inflation is not an accident. It is a weapon, a silent mechanism of wealth extraction, perfected over centuries by central banks, governments, and the global financial architecture that stands above them. Today, we expose the empire behind the curtain. Modern monetary power sits in the hands of institutions you do not elect. In 1694, the Bank of England was created to finance war. In 1913, the Federal Reserve was born from a private meeting at Jekyll Island. In 1930, the Bank for International Settlements was established and later became the central bank of central banks. In 1944, the Bretton Woods Agreement crowned the US dollar the center of global finance. And in 1971, President Nixon ended the gold standard, unleashing a fully fiat world. From that moment on, money became debt, debt became control, and inflation became the leash. Since 1913, the US dollar has lost 97% of its purchasing power. Not by accident, but by design. Inflation allows elites to do what democracies forbid. It allows governments to tax the population without passing a single law. It allows wealth to be transferred without public resistance. It allows state power to expand without voter approval. Milton Friedman said it clearly: inflation is taxation without legislation. Here is how the weapon works. Governments spend more than they earn. Central banks create the money to fill the gap. The currency supply expands. Your purchasing power shrinks. The difference is confiscated wealth, taken through monetary decay. And when citizens complain, they are told comforting stories about supply chains, energy shocks, or temporary disruption. But the math does not lie. 40% of all dollars in existence were created in just the years 2020 and 2021. Global money supply exploded. Inflation hit 40-year highs. Real wages turned negative across the United States and Europe. Now, central banks pose as firefighters, pretending to extinguish a blaze they helped ignite. But inflation is only one layer of control. The deeper mechanism is debt. The modern citizen is not governed. They are managed. The system is engineered for lifetime economic dependency. You borrow to study. You borrow to live. You borrow to drive, to eat, and to survive. Then you spend decades paying interest to a banking hierarchy that creates money from nothing and charges you for access to it. This is not capitalism. This is structured servitude. Japan's debt to GDP is over 250%. The United States sits near 130%. Italy sits above 130. Argentina and Turkey are locked in inflationary collapse. These countries will never repay their debt in real terms. Their only exit is controlled, continuous, engineered inflation. Central banks now stand trapped inside their own machinery. If they raise rates, economies break and governments risk default. If they cut rates, inflation erupts and currencies lose credibility. This leads to three likely outcomes between now and 2026. Outcome 1: financial repression. Inflation stays above wage growth to silently reduce debt. Outcome 2: higher for longer. Rates stay elevated to delay collapse, crushing small businesses and slowing growth. Outcome 3: crisis pivot, and a new round of money printing, destroying remaining trust in fiat currency. In every scenario, the empire survives. The citizen pays. You were taught how to work. You were never taught how money works. And that is intentional. If the public truly understood monetary policy, the system would face a public reckoning before sunrise. Inflation is not rising prices. Inflation is the falling value of the currency you are forced to use. Once you understand that, the illusion collapses. So what can you do? This is not financial advice. This is survival awareness. First, do not save long-term wealth in a currency designed to weaken over time. Second, own productive or scarce assets because capital, not labor, survives monetary decay. Third, watch central bank language. Pivots are spoken before they are executed. Fourth, understand that debt can be a weapon or a shield. In an inflationary world, good debt destroys bad currency. The war between central banks and inflation is not a malfunction. It is a model that keeps governments funded, banks powerful, corporations obedient, and populations compliant. It evaporates wealth one silent percentage point at a time. Most people will never discover this. They will live as economic participants, not players, as subjects, not citizens. But now you know. This is GeoMoney TV. Stay awake, stay informed. The system is not done with you, and the next phase of this war has already begun.